Next up on the list is Quinn Ewers, Texas quarterback. He's listed at 6'3", 206. I'm not sure about that.
I have him 6'2".
Okay. Yeah. I mean, websites here and there on that.
No combine yet.
We'll see at the combine. So he's actually a guy that I'm very interested to see exactly how tall he is. He doesn't look like an overly big guy to me. But we're seeing ranges in 6'2", 6'3". I also want to see how much bulk he has.
Read something today that he had oblique surgery.
Yes, you told me that, which is very interesting.
Which kind of makes sense.
It does make a little bit of sense. We'll get into it a bit. Only 21 years old. Last year at Texas, he completed 65.8% of his passes, so right around 66%. 3,472 yards passing, 31 touchdowns against 12 interceptions. He had negative rushing yards because they do the negative for sacks and all that good stuff.
Not a rusher.
Not much of a rusher, no. So let's get into it because I think he's an odd guy to nail down. There are times when he looks like he definitely has NFL talent and an NFL arm, and then there are also head scratching times when you're not quite sure what he's looking at and what he's seeing.
And all in the same game.
Correct.
Like you watch him versus like the Alabama, Michigan, like in the playoffs when they're about to, he's the reason they come back and win. Like right. But the oblique injury could kind of tell you something as well.
And there was a thing like listen, we were watching tape on this guy last season because we were watching some of the Texas wide receivers, right? And it was sometimes it was hard to watch. He was missing guys. There was clear overthrows and just bad plays. And early on, especially in the Texas season, he seemed to have eliminated that and looked pretty good when I was just casually watching games, because I was watching Texas. They were nationally ranked pretty high, early on in that season. They played Michigan really well. And, he had 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So he played really well in that game as well. And he just looked better. And it's not like, he lost some of the playmakers that he had the year before. So, sometimes you're not exactly sure what you're going to get, but the accuracy inconsistencies didn't seem to be there as much early on in the season. Now they ended up coming back a little bit. I feel like as the season kind of went on, and specifically maybe it was that oblique injury that caused some of it.
When I saw that today, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Cause like the way he was kind of like all over the place. And like, did he like just, it's like when they need him the most is when he really did kind of step up, which is crazy. It's like
a big adrenaline rush, a big surge. He just kind of
fighting through it. And that's what you really get. Cause you're right. Like watching his tape last year, like I thought he was a shitty quarterback. Like I was like, this guy's not very good. And I've been following Quinn Ewers because you gotta remember he was the #1 recruit in the nation, and he went to Ohio State and he ended up leaving Ohio State
for like a minute,
for the year. So I was very intrigued because this is a kid, he gets the ball out real quick, right? Just gets the ball out. Guy's a really good arm. And
he's getting college offers in like middle school.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of arm talent this dude has, like actually throwing the football.
He's got 100% an NFL caliber arm, gets the ball out quick as well. They said the biggest thing you're going to see is like, he's like Jekyll and Hyde to 50-50. But also it's like, what I don't like about him is like, sometimes like some of his dropbacks are a little lazy at times, like his footwork as well. But my biggest negative on him was like he just stared down his receiver a lot. Like he like locked on his first read and kind of just like followed him through a lot. And I need my quarterback to be able to go through his reads and go through them quickly as well. So that was a little bit of a negative.
There weren't a lot of guys that I saw. You're watching their tape and they're moving 1, 2, 3. Oh, all right, come back to this. There's just not a lot of those guys.
Sanders.
Yeah, there's Sanders.
You're right. Cam Ward at times locked in on his receiver a little more than I liked.
And that's this is the part of the thing that we're getting into where we don't know what the coaches are asking them to do. Sometimes it's like, hey, we're going to cut the field in half. You're only looking over there. Yeah. So you're not going to see a bunch of head turning, all this kind of stuff, because you can just use your eyes and go, oh, no, that one's open, that one. You know what I mean?
I hate that on Twitter when people bring up a all 22 screenshot and be like, look at this receiver. He's wide open. And you're just like, dude, that means he wasn't even looking. Like and not only that, he was never even gonna look that way.
Right.
It wasn't where he's supposed to look.
And that's what you can run into in some of these college offenses on any given play. I mean, Steve Sarkisian, a guy that came from the NFL, right? And came from the, it was, I think, Falcons, right? And has been obviously in the college game for a while as well. So you don't know how much of that has how much of the NFL style stuff has come in and how much he's using. So it's still so confusing, even though there's a guy that's been in the NFL, if he's using NFL concepts still, because who knows if the guy's good at that. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's not his jam. So they make it easy on him. And maybe he's not ready to take that step. He's Quinn Ewers is 21 years old. You know what I mean? He probably could have used one more year compared to what we're seeing on a lot of these other guys.
And that's the thing. I wonder if Arch Manning wasn't at Texas, if he would have gone back.
I think he probably would have.
My guess is he would have too.
I agree.
To try to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Right. And that would make like sense for him because I think he could use a little bit more seasoning. I don't think he wanted to leave. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to leave Texas. He went to Ohio State and kind of toiled around with that stuff. And when he went, as soon as he got the opportunity to come home to go to Texas, he went right back. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to then again abandon Texas. He would rather just go on to the NFL.
And he probably got a draft grade good enough for him to go as well. He probably believes in himself. I mean, this is a guy, we said his arm dazzles, right? Like he can fit it into a tight window. Like he's got that. He's very intriguing because like we keep hearing about like, Tyler Shucks and Jackson Dart and, this, but like Quinn Ewers' name never comes up and he's what we usually get. It's 50-50. Yep. There's a 50% chance he's an NFL starter and he's a good quarterback. Like I'm really intrigued of where he goes in the NFL draft because he seems like somebody, if I was a team on day 2 in the second round, a la the Jets or the Raiders that missed out on those first couple quarterbacks. Like this is where
he's interesting. Yeah, for sure.
I'd rather gamble on Quinn Ewers than Tyler Shuck.
Oh, totally. Because he's 21 years old and he's got all the talent. He doesn't have the same deficiencies as a guy like Shuck. So he just comes with a lot more upside, I think, from an NFL standpoint. And in round 2, do you want a guy that's 26 years old, or you want a guy that's 21 and has a shot? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Shuck is such a finished product where Quinn Ewers, I think, has a lot of room to grow. And it doesn't necessarily, and you've seen flashes, you know what I mean? You've seen the good. You just have to try to eliminate those bad moments.
Yeah. You go back to 2023, his road win against like Alabama. You see moments like that. Like it was just great. Like dude just flicks the wrist, gunner helm, touchdown, throws a bootleg laser to Matthew Golden. He'll roll out and just effortlessly just deliver the football into a tight window. He's got a lot of talent, and then it's just so frustrating to watch him because then you'll see him just be like, 1 minute everything looks really crisp and he's on it, and then he falls back and his footwork's all over the work.
And that's when it's bad.
Yeah,
and that's a common theme around a lot of quarterbacks.
Some of it seems lazy.
It does seem lazy, and you're wondering, you get caught wondering, like, is this something that's correctable, or is this always going to be a part of his game? Or, you know what I mean? Like, because if it's always part of his game and he's not able to snap out of it, and it's just kind of like a focus thing, and during parts of the game, he's going to lose mental focus, but when it really matters, he'll be there. I don't know that you can operate in the NFL like that, because you can do it in college, because a lot of times, especially at a program like Texas, you're going to be better than the guys across from you most of the time.
Yeah.
In the NFL, that's not the case. Those are level playing fields, and you got to fight and scrap for every single first down you get.
I would love to see him, like, I'd love to be able to have a crystal ball and see him just play one NFL game. Like, I want to see him go through his extend. I mean, because that's one of my biggest concerns outside of like the 50-50 and what like is like that stuff is like, I did come away. Like, one of my biggest things I wrote down for him is like, he just locks in, like, to the point where, like, where again, a lot of quarterbacks do that, like you said, but like his was one of the more concerning ones for me. Cause there'd be times like, oh, like he didn't even like there's no offense that like locks you in as much as like how he would stare him down and even give the possibility. And obviously we have all 22, we see some things, and there'd be some things in that range of where he was looking that he could have hit as well. So there were some open targets,
So
but
just
he didn't
missing,
do it.
yeah.
And then like
opening things.
where we're like hurt, and at times like he hurt his receivers in that category, right? Because like he stared him down, the safety's moving in, and like they're running like the football right into that collision as well. So overall, a nice prospect that has some upside. Probably for me, like he's, like I said, my 1-2's Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders locked in, Jackson Dart, and then I'm looking at like Will Howard, Tyler Shuck, and like Quinn Ewers. Like who gets, basically for me, for those guys, who gets the best draft capital, best landed spot is where I want those guys. But the guys I want to get, again, when I kind of go back where I said earlier, we're like, oh, there's gonna be some good value at quarterback. I think it falls for these guys too. Like these are guys like, instead of taking running back 16, like I'd rather, and like wide receiver 7, like I'm probably gonna
That's
have,
when you're starting to creep in on these guys a little bit.
I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, and Will Howard shares, I guess, and I'm gonna gamble on those guys.
I mean, I think that makes sense for those guys, you know, and then I think the Shucks, the Rourkes, and some of these other guys. I mean, I feel like those are like end of the, like if you have a 6th round, like
yeah,
maybe
you
throw
100%.
maybe you throw a Dart, throw a
5th round,
yeah,
all the running backs are there.
Sure.
Like again, when I say that, it doesn't mean like, oh wow, because I love these guys. I think from everything I've been studying, again so far, we have 2 months to go, a long way to go, and even maybe a little bit long. We hold our rookie drafts right after the NFL draft, so really 2 months. I feel where these guys end up going in the land spots, like 2nd round draft.
it's going to sort it.
They got to be 2nd round. My point is, like, I think they're going to end up being value picks. Doesn't mean I think they're going to be good, but they're people that I'm willing to gamble on, is a better way to say it. And Quinn Ewers falls in that category.
Quinn Ewers is definitely a guy that if he gets 2nd round draft capital, I'm willing, or 3rd in the right situation, 2nd, but preferably 2nd round. Then I'm willing to gamble on them.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm with you there.